Welcome back to Autism Live. I am in the studio with these three fabulous men. We have on the end Garth Herberg, Atticus Couger, and Jason Weissbrod.
Yes.
Did I get it right?
You got them right.
Because I constantly want
Yep.
to add syllables to all of their names.
It's funny, my name's the hardest one to get right, and yet you nailed it perfectly.
I've been practicing. I have been practicing, honestly, saying your name because your name is interesting, and all three of you have very interesting names. There's no Smith among you, and that's indicative of who you are as people and as artists. I think we can say that, and it's a compliment. I meant it as one. And for those of you who don't know, all of you are representing Spectrum Laboratories.
Spectrum Laboratories.
Spec Lab for the cool kids.
All the cool kids say Spec Labs.
Wait, is it Spectrum Laboratory or Spectrum Laboratories?
It's Spectrum Laboratory with the Y.
Singular.
Not E's. Yeah.
Okay.
On your voicemail, it says Spectrum Laboratories.
Ah, it's nice. Spectrum Laboratory. Yeah, okay.
Just go to the website. In any case,
For the website.
an amazing organization that does amazing things. Who wants to tell us a little bit about what you guys do?
Oh my gosh, so much to say.
Right.
Well, we started in January of 2015, and it's been 3.5, all going on 4 years. In that time, we started with just a film program and a music program, just general film and music for young artists and adults on the autism spectrum, and we started with 6 students in our first class. Atticus was in the first round, and now we're teaching film, music, animation, voiceover acting, improv comedy, musical composing for film. We're doing editing. What am I forgetting? Your live band.
Just the band. There's so much.
There's a lot.
Film company,
We're
record company.
We're also doing mentorships with for script writing and editing and music making.
Yeah, I've mentored script writing with Atticus, and I've done script writing with Luis Torrado, who's been here a bunch of times. Garth is working one-on-one creating albums, which we'll talk about later, one-on-one mentorships for their own records. And with Steven Felder, I'm creating a film, we're script writing a film that we're going to be crowdfunding for soon. And Michael Anthony, I'm writing a script with him. There's a bunch of people within the LA community, autism spectrum, that we're just working with and creating a bunch of film, music, and animation. We're working with Danny Bowman also, doing animation with her, and she's teaching really young people, older people on the spectrum, how to work in animation and that whole thing.
It's amazing to have watched you guys grow and to see the creativity that you guys pump out.
It's
and
really
I'm sure.
good. Sorry.
No, go ahead. This is about you. Tell us.
It's really good to have seen it from the inside.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to see this kind of thing with it's starting out as just this little thing at this school with a couple of guys teaching some kids how to act in film, and now it's just this massive organization that's growing so fast.
Glad you think so.
Yeah.
It's massive, and maybe not in terms of size, but it's massive in terms of impact, I think, because
I agree.
Not a lot of programs actually produce albums on CDs, and that's been there since the beginning, and I think that is part of what sets Spec Lab apart from so many other groups, and I think that we're probably just gonna continue to grow for a long time.
I agree. And
Thanks,
so,
Atticus.
were you one of those 6 students in the beginning? Were you one of the core 6? Amazing. And now you've been a part of. We have to address this loveliness that's on the table.
These are 5 records, and there's 4 more coming out at SpecFest, which is one of the main reasons we're here today, Shannon. We want to really announce and share with all the viewers that we have a festival coming up May 20th. This will be our 5th music and film festival, where we will have 4 new records for sale. We'll have a ton of new short films. Atticus has written and is starring and composed one of those short films. There's so much to discuss there. We're so excited.
That was a tough one.
If we want to talk about SpecFest, on May 20th, it's 3:30 is the doors, and then 4 o'clock is the showtime. We're at the Huffington Center. There's the awesome poster. And it's right on the corner of Pico and Normandy in LA. It's a really beautiful St. Sophia Cathedral. It's a beautiful room with a huge HD screen. hopefully you'll be there, and everybody.
I've never gotten to go in the past, and I've always heard that it's an amazing event, and I've always wanted to be there. It was always at a day that I absolutely couldn't because of something else. But it's always right around my son's birthday, and it's like during his birthday party or whatever. I've kept the date clear. I'm coming.
Great.
Yes.
So can't wait.
And at SpecFest, there's 10 short films, but when I say short, they're all in the 2 to 3 minute range, so it's not like, don't get overwhelmed. Except for Atticus's film through our mentorship program and through our theme this year for our festival, which is My Heart. Everybody wrote a piece. They wrote their own monologues. They wrote their own film pieces. They came up with their own ideas, and the theme was My Heart. So Atticus came up one day and said, "How about My Heart Confuses Me?"
Actually, there's a funny. That's a really kind of a funny story.
Yeah.
The way I came up with that, it was a joke. I said, like, we were trying to think of, what does my heart do? It's confusing, but my heart is confusing. That doesn't make any sense. My heart confuses me. Yeah, that's good. And it was a joke. It wasn't meant to be anything. I was gonna make a comedy short film, which is far from what this became. This is possibly the most serious thing that we've ever done at Spec Lab.
It's way different than anything we've done, for sure. It's very deep and it's profound, and he wrote it, with my help. We sat there and we went through it, but it's really all from this guy's amazing brain,
and I'd like to establish a trigger warning for it for anybody who might be watching and is thinking of it, because it deals with some really heavy topics that, for somebody who suffers from anxiety or depression or dark thoughts, may not want to see on a film, but if you do, you will not regret it, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think that it's also extremely funny, which is something that you'll see because I've been editing it for like the past week, and I'm bringing him into the editing process now. But it's also really, it's dealt with in such a tasteful way that you don't feel like it's really dark. You don't feel like it's too heavy. It's actually really quite like charming in an interesting way.
Well, we have a clip. Should we look at it?
We have a clip from something else, actually.
Oh,
we have a clip from one of his comedies that he wrote, the Atticus and Atticus web series.
With Atticus Baldwin, who has he been on the show?
He has been on the show.
It's with him.
Hilarious. The two of you together are amazing.
This film was featured at our last SpecFest.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't finished editing the new one, so that'll be at the new SpecFest. But this was at SpecFest last year.
All right. So you got to come to SpecFest if you want to see it. I mean, or you have to wait a couple weeks and it'll be online, but it's best to see it.
Why wait?
Don't wait.
It's really good to see these films on that gigantic HD screen with the huge speakers just blasting the audio. It's such a different experience, so don't wait for it to come out. Definitely come to SpecFest. It is one of the most awesome things you'll do all year.
Okay, but let's take a look at something from last year.
Last year's.
With Atticus
and Atticus. This is Atticus and Atticus in virtual reality.
Okay.
He should be here by now. Yeah. It's 2 minutes past the estimated time.
2 minutes?
I can't wait.
Can't wait for what?
Our virtual reality headsets.
What, I may ask, is virtual reality?
It's a reality that's virtual.
And what is virtual?
Like reality.
Okay.
Numbskull.
Wonderful. Absolutely amazing. And really something that whets our appetite, and we want to see more. And we can do that at SpecFest on May 20th. And what I see is, from a parent's point of view, we have these amazing kids, right? And they have a creative life. And we want to feed that, but sometimes we don't know how to. And what I love about what you guys do is that parents can come to you guys and say, my kid wants to play the drums, but I don't know how to play the drums. Like, what are we going to do about that? Or he already plays the drums, but he wants to be in a band, and we don't know how to get that going. Or my kid has these ideas, but I don't know what to do with them. And you guys are amazing because you know exactly what to do to feed that passion that they have and to make things happen.
Do you want to talk about some of the firsts in the film class? Because I feel like we've had a lot of those with students that have just had their first experience doing so many things.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of new students come in and they don't know what they want to do. A lot of them come in and they say, oh, I don't act, or I don't write, or I don't want to do this. This is silly, or whatever it may be. And then they'll see the leaders of the class who've been doing it for a little while get up there and show what they've done, like Atticus or Dominique or Lucas, or these people who are getting up there, and Baldwin, and just sharing this stuff. And all of a sudden you'll see them slowly go like, okay, that's kind of cool. Like maybe I'll do that. And then slowly they start like writing a little or acting a little, and by the end of it they're like, when's my film showing at SpecFest? I want my film to show. And then and it becomes this thing where they're starting to discover their talents through, like, they didn't know they could write. Yeah. Then they'll sit down with me and I'll be like, well, what do you want to say? And then all of a sudden you just slowly go through the process. Or I don't necessarily want to play in a band, but all of a sudden though, you'll put them in the room. And I'll think about like Max or somebody who's you put them in the room, all of a sudden they're like, well, I want to write a song, now I'm going to do it. And so I think it's more about, it is us nurturing the talent, but at the same time it's the community. It's like the whole team kind of picks everybody up. Sometimes we're at a loss, like I don't know what to do, but then like Atticus will come by and be like, hey, why don't you do this with me? And it's really cool to see just our team, like everybody working together. And we have an amazing staff and some amazing volunteers who also just give their heart to it as well, that we can't, do it without. And, like Jeff and Emily and people who've been with us since the beginning. Without them, it's, they help us shoot, they help us record. We have Bob DeMarco, who has been a huge part of our team.
It's amazing, like on the film and acting side, to see how, after doing it for 3 years, we've encountered students on all sides of the spectrum. Some that are just in the improv class and having their first experiences acting and being part of a group scenario, and then others that are, doing their first films, or, now going on auditions and, building rapport with like casting directors. It's really cool. It's like, as our students get empowered and, express their creativity, that's met with different opportunities, that are at the right level for where they're at. And it's cool to see that, because we didn't have that when we started. It was just, where is this going to go? What can we create? And now it's all these avenues are opening up.
I think the biggest thing that's happened recently that we didn't know from the beginning is when people first saw what we were doing, they were like, oh, these are like high functioning people on the spectrum who can only do your program. And at first we were like, is it? And we didn't want it to be that. So we kept pushing and we kept bringing in anybody. We weren't saying no to anyone, and we would find different places. And now we are very confident that we can kind of work with, if anybody has a passion and they want to do it, then we can work with anyone. It's some people who don't want it, and we're kind of then it's tough. But most people, we can find a place, and so we are gearing a lot of it towards job creation and getting, like, we've given Atticus jobs and other people. We've got 3 artists who aren't even animators. One, Carissa, Carissa?
I don't know if I've met her.
She's amazing. Or Austin Jones from San Diego. We're like hiring them to do animated videos that we're going to show at SpecFest, to our music videos. Hiring editors. Ben Avchen is amazing editor. So we're, and then also the other side is, we're meeting casting directors. Spencer and Dominique from our program are on Atypical for season 2, and we've been self-taping and sending in a bunch of people for commercials, for auditions. So we're really trying to, on all sides of the spectrum, whether you just want to come hang out first time acting in class, or if you are looking at this as a career, then we can kind of work with everybody.
That's been so cool to see more of this year, just seeing more of those firsts in getting gigs, getting jobs, getting more professional experience. That's been really great. And it's also made life a little bit easier for Jason and I, because we've been doing all the work ourselves for the first couple of years, and now we're able to kind of build that team from the ground up and see our students starting to take on some of those skills and responsibilities, like you.
And
Atticus, yes. And because I know you've got a lot of different projects that you're working on, but one of them is you're collaborating and helping me. You're writing some music for my one-woman show.
I am.
And I'm loving that, and I'm loving getting a chance to work with you, and it's been really fabulous.
Yeah, I am enjoying it as well. It's a really good experience, and the music. I like the music side of things as much as I like the performance side. It's really just all around a great thing. And now these guys have actually got me arranging and helping to make the music on the albums. Like, I edited some vocals for Dominique Brown's album, and I'm also doing a lot of instrumentation and like arrangement on just the main Spec Lab album this year.
Yeah, he's kind of getting his hands into everything. He's doing score. You're scoring for some of the films, including your own film as well as some of the other ones. Working on the albums and just writing and acting on top of it. So he's doing a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah.
And what I get when I'm with you is that I get this sense that there's nothing that you can't do, that all the doors are open, and that you're not limited by anything. You're not limited by this idea of, well, am I an actor or am I, a composer? I see in you, Atticus, that you're like, I'm all of those things, and why wouldn't I be?
It's less that for me, and more, I want to be all of those things, so I'm striving towards being all of those things. Mm-hmm. I always want to be the best that I can be at everything that I want to do. Mm-hmm. And in doing so, it's actually getting me paid work doing music. And I'm going to be honest with you, I never thought I'd be a musician. I always thought I'd just be a performer, an actor. But now I'm for somebody at my level, I'm a relatively successful musician getting and it's not what I expected at all.
Yeah, off to a great start.
Yeah, it's because I wanted to be that, and I was striving to be the best that I could in that field. And that constant desire has driven me to become what I am and what I'm going to be in the future.
Yeah. Which is absolutely fabulous.
And I really like your realism too. We've had many conversations where we've talked about how can you find opportunities in the near future to grow, and I really think your motivation and your willingness to be active is going to be the secret to all the successful things that you do.
And we haven't even said how old you are, Atticus, because you're one of those, you're clearly an old soul, but you have one of these faces that I think people are like, okay, he could be anywhere from 15 to 28. So how old are you, Atticus?
Somewhere in between that. I'm 18.
That's 18. So you are doing fabulous for somebody who's 18. You're well on your way.
Yeah, and for somebody who just started a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And I credit at least half of my success to these guys, because I wouldn't be where I am without their help.
Works both ways, because it gives us so much confidence in what we're doing to see you thriving.
Well, and I think too, other people see that as well and go, okay, this is wonderful. Everybody talks, as a parent, we always talk about how do you give confidence? Because there's so many other things that you want to unpack for your child. Always, no matter on the spectrum, not on the spectrum, but certainly when they get into those teen years, you have to factor in confidence and being able to weather hard times and have an ability and some sort of a format in which to be able to channel things into. And I see confidence.
I'm gonna be honest with you right now.
Yes.
That is. I'm not one to talk about confidence. I actually have very, very little confidence.
Really?
It goes kind of half and half. Half the time I think I can do anything. Half the time I think I can do nothing at all. But here's the thing that I do with that, and I think that it's not so much a matter of having confidence or gaining confidence. It's a matter of trying to get to a point where you can have confidence, because what I do is I take my feelings that I'm not gonna succeed, I can't succeed, I'm not good enough to try to be somebody who can. So what you think is what you see as confidence is just a desire, just me striving to be good enough to do it. And in doing so, it produces something that is magically good.
But I think that willingness to try, Atticus, is everything. I think that in and of itself is a form of confidence. And anything, as a parent, anything that would give my child or somebody else that child, I look at you and I go, that's amazing. I'd love to give that to everybody. That willingness to try, because sometimes you don't know what it's going to be, right? You're willing to try and create, and you don't know what the end result is going to be.
It's easy to make that sort of thing, the feel that you can't be good enough, as something that'll stop you from doing what you want to do. But the key is you don't let that happen. The key is you use it as motivation to get to the point that you want to get to. And in all likelihood, you won't get to the point that you want to get to. But that constant desire to get to that point is what keeps you going, and it's what keeps the art happening, and it's what keeps the skills building. You should always strive to be better than you are. And with me, I can't really control it, but I take it a little far. I feel like I always have to be, I always have to strive to be a satisfactory amount, but that gives me the motivation to create the product that I do.
But what you just said was amazing.
Yeah.
Right? I'd like to crochet it on a pillow.
Actually,
it's a little long, but like I don't know that it would all fit on the pillow, but that right there is everything. And for you to know that at 18, you're going to do amazing things. You already are doing amazing things, but you're going to have an amazing life, Atticus.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We couldn't have said it better to you. That kind of positive self-talk is just that's all we could hope for, that you would take, with you. That's so amazing.
And that informs everybody else. I'm sure that makes the other students be a little more fearless and willing to take risks. And it makes makes me want to be better. Reminds me that, in the valiant attempt is everything. So congratulations. And we can't wait to see your film at SpecFest.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
I can't wait to see it either. I haven't even seen it. I
keep it really to the last second. I keep it hidden. Yes.
Our production cycle is wild. It really is.
I cannot even imagine.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun though, and it's all worth it at SpecFest. It's like it all comes together.
Yeah.
So it's a magical event. And just to say what you said, all artists go through that feeling. All people don't feel like they have enough, or the confidence levels, and it's just about throwing yourself in. If anything, you've done that. So I'm proud of you, man.
Yeah, I think we all are. I'm proud to know you.